Triple H just destroyed Jade Cargill's WWE career in the most brutal backstage confrontation we've witnessed since the Attitude Era, and if you think that's an exaggeration, wait until you hear the exact words he used. The man who's supposed to be the level-headed leader of WWE's creative direction completely lost his composure and unleashed a verbal assault that has wrestling insiders questioning whether Jade will ever recover from this professional humiliation. If you're watching this, you already know why we're here. WWE's Night of Champions 2025 is in the books, and we've got everything to talk about. The good, the bad, the controversial, and the absolutely embarrassing. And yeah, you read that title right. Triple H has reportedly fired back, hard, at Jade Cargill after one of the worst botched finishes we've seen in a WWE Premium Live event in years. This isn't just wrestling drama, folks. This is career-ending territory, and the wrestling community is divided on whether Triple H crossed the line or finally said what everyone was thinking. We're going to break down the Queen of the Ring disaster, everything leading up to it, the behind-the-scenes fallout, and where it leaves Jade, Asuka, and even Triple H heading into SummerSlam. But that's not all, we've also got major match breakdowns, story progression, and some breaking news involving WWE fans' reaction to Jade's potential departure, and a surprise reunion that had fans smiling. So sit back, hit that like button if you love real wrestling talk, and let's dive into the madness of Night of Champions 2025. Let's start at the beginning, and what a way to kick off the night. The finals of the Queen of the Ring tournament between Jade Cargill and Asuka should have been a career-defining moment for both women. Instead, it became a masterclass in how not to execute a wrestling finish. The match itself started strong. Jade looked dominant early, showcasing the power and athleticism that made her a standout in AEW and initially impressed WWE audiences. Asuka, the crafty veteran, used her experience to weather the storm and began targeting Jade's legs with precision strikes and submission holds. For the first 15 minutes, this looked like it could be a legitimate match of the year candidate. The crowd was invested, both women were telling a compelling story, and the action was crisp and believable. But then everything fell apart in the most spectacular fashion possible. The planned finish called for Asuka to counter Jade's finisher into her own submission hold, leading to a dramatic tap-out victory that would crown a new Queen of the Ring. Simple enough, right? Wrong. What actually happened was a complete breakdown in communication and execution that left both wrestlers looking confused, the referee scrambling to salvage the situation, and the live audience audibly booing what they witnessed. Jade went for her finishing move, but Asuka was either out of position or misunderstood the timing. Instead of the smooth counter that was rehearsed, Jade essentially had to pause mid-move, waiting for Asuka to get into position. The delay was so obvious that even casual fans could tell something had gone wrong. But it gets worse. When Asuka finally attempted the counter, she couldn't properly lock in her submission hold because Jade was still trying to complete her own move. For nearly 30 seconds of live television, two professional wrestlers were essentially wrestling in slow motion, trying to figure out how to get to the planned finish. The referee, clearly receiving instructions through his earpiece, tried to help guide the wrestlers to the right position, but his involvement was so obvious that it broke any remaining illusion of legitimate competition. By the time Asuka finally managed to apply her submission hold, the crowd had turned completely, showering the ring with boos and boring chants. Jade's tap out, when it finally came, felt anticlimactic and forced. The celebration that followed was met with complete silence from the audience, and you could see the disappointment and embarrassment on both wrestlers' faces as they left the ring. But the real drama happened after the cameras stopped rolling. According to multiple backstage sources who witnessed the confrontation, Triple H was absolutely furious about the botched finish and the negative reaction it generated from the live audience. What started as a private conversation between Triple H and Jade quickly escalated into a heated argument that could be heard throughout the backstage area. Several wrestlers and staff members have confirmed that Triple H's voice was raised to levels that shocked everyone present. The exact words used in the confrontation haven't been officially confirmed, but sources close to the situation report that Triple H questioned everything from Jade's preparation to her commitment to learning WWE's style of wrestling. One particularly damaging comment allegedly involved Triple H comparing Jade unfavorably to other wrestlers who had successfully transitioned from other promotions. "This isn't AEW where you can just show up and wing it," Triple H reportedly said, according to one source. "This is WWE, and if you can't handle the pressure and precision required at this level, maybe you need to reconsider whether you belong here." The confrontation allegedly lasted over 10 minutes, with Jade attempting to defend herself and explain what went wrong during the match. However, Triple H was reportedly in no mood to hear explanations, focusing instead on the damage the botched finish had done to the Queen of the Ring tournament's credibility and the overall quality of the pay-per-view. The wrestling community's reaction to news of this backstage confrontation has been swift and divisive. Social media has exploded with debates about whether Triple H was justified in his harsh criticism or whether he crossed professional boundaries in how he handled the situation. Team Jade supporters argue that mistakes happen in wrestling, and that publicly humiliating a performer is counterproductive and unprofessional. They point to Triple H's own in-ring career, noting that he had his share of botched spots and poor matches, especially early in his career. "Everyone makes mistakes," tweeted former WWE champion CM Punk. "The measure of leadership isn't perfection, it's how you help people recover from their mistakes and improve." On the other side, industry veterans have defended Triple H's reaction, arguing that the standards at WWE's premium live events must be maintained at all costs. They contend that Jade's botch wasn't just a minor mistake but a fundamental failure to execute at the level required for main event programming. "When you're in the finals of a major tournament on a premium live event, there's no room for that kind of sloppiness," said wrestling journalist Dave Meltzer. Triple H's frustration is understandable, even if his delivery might have been harsh. The controversy has even reached mainstream sports media, with ESPN and other outlets picking up the story and discussing whether WWE's backstage culture has become too demanding and unforgiving for performers trying to adapt to the company's specific style and expectations. The most pressing question coming out of Night of Champions is what this means for Jade Cargill's WWE career. Reports suggest that her upcoming storylines have been put on hold while management reassesses her position within the company. This is particularly concerning given that Jade was being positioned as a potential breakout star who could bridge the gap between WWE's women's division and mainstream audiences. Her athletic background, impressive physical presence, and crossover appeal made her a valuable asset that WWE was clearly invested in developing. However, the combination of the botched finish and the reported backstage confrontation has created doubt about whether Jade can handle the pressure and precision required for WWE's biggest moments. Wrestling is ultimately about confidence and believability, and both have been damaged by the events at Night of Champions. Industry insiders suggest that Jade's immediate future will depend on how she responds to this setback. If she can demonstrate improved preparation and execution in upcoming matches, she may be able to rebuild her standing within the company. However, if similar issues continue to occur, her push to main event status could be permanently derailed. The situation is complicated by the fact that WWE has invested significant time and resources in Jade's development. Cutting ties completely would represent a major loss for the company, but continuing to feature her in prominent roles while questions about her reliability persist could damage other storylines and performers. Lost in much of the controversy surrounding Jade and Triple H is the awkward position this puts Asuka in as the new Queen of the Ring. Her victory, which should have been a crowning achievement in an already legendary career, has been overshadowed by the circumstances surrounding how she won. Asuka, being the professional she is, has handled the situation with grace and dignity. In brief comments to wrestling media, she emphasized her respect for Jade as a competitor and expressed hope that they could have another match in the future under better circumstances. "Wrestling is about learning and growing," Asuka said through a translator. "Everyone makes mistakes. What matters is how we respond and improve." However, the tainted nature of her Queen of the Ring victory presents booking challenges for WWE going forward. How do you build momentum for a champion whose crowning moment is remembered more for what went wrong than what went right? WWE's creative team is reportedly already working on storylines that will help rehabilitate both the Queen of the Ring tournament's credibility and Asuka's championship reign. This likely means giving Asuka high-profile, clean victories over other top contenders to establish her legitimacy as the rightful tournament winner. The irony is that Asuka, despite being the beneficiary of the botched finish, may also be a victim of its fallout. Her championship celebration was cut short, her moment was ruined, and now she has to work twice as hard to establish herself as a credible Queen of the Ring. This controversy extends beyond just the individuals involved and raises questions about WWE's current creative direction and backstage culture under Triple H's leadership. Since taking over from Vince McMahon, Triple H has been praised for creating a more collaborative and supportive environment for WWE's roster. However, the reported confrontation with Jade suggests that even under new management, the pressure to perform at WWE's premium live events remains intense, and the consequences for failure can be severe. This incident also highlights the ongoing challenges WWE faces in developing talent from other promotions. While some wrestlers have successfully transitioned to WWE's style and expectations, others have struggled to adapt to the company's specific requirements and pressure situations. The wrestling industry is watching closely to see how WWE handles this situation going forward. Will they double down on supporting Jade through this difficult period, or will they cut their losses and move on? The answer could signal broader changes in how WWE approaches talent development and mistake management. For wrestling fans, this controversy serves as a reminder that even in an era of increased professionalism and production values, wrestling remains a live, unpredictable form of entertainment where things can go wrong at the worst possible moments. Looking ahead to SummerSlam and beyond, the fallout from Night of Champions will likely influence several major storylines and booking decisions. Jade's immediate future remains uncertain, but sources suggest that she will be given opportunities to prove herself in lower-profile matches before being considered for major storylines again. Asuka's Queen of the Ring reign will likely be used to elevate other women's division storylines, with WWE potentially using her veteran status and credibility to help develop younger talent who weren't affected by the Night of Champions controversy. Triple H, for his part, may need to address his handling of the situation publicly or privately to maintain morale among the roster. While his frustration may have been justified, the manner in which he reportedly expressed it could create fear and anxiety among other performers who might make similar mistakes in the future. The wrestling community will be watching Jade's next appearances closely to see how she responds to this adversity. Her ability to bounce back from this setback could determine whether she becomes a cautionary tale about the pressures of WWE or a success story about overcoming adversity and improving through criticism. Ultimately, Night of Champions 2025 will be remembered not just for its controversial finish, but for how it tested the characters of everyone involved and revealed the intense pressures that exist behind the scenes in modern professional wrestling. The story is far from over, and how it concludes will likely influence WWE's approach to talent development and crisis management for years to come. One thing is certain, everyone involved will be under a microscope going forward, and the wrestling world will be watching to see who emerges stronger from this controversy. What do you think about Triple H's handling of this situation? Was he justified in his criticism, or did he cross the line? And what should happen next for Jade Cargill's WWE career? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe for more wrestling news and analysis. If you thought tonight's story was wild, trust me, what happens next will blow your mind. So don't stop now. Click on the video right here on your screen to continue the chaos, the drama, and the inside scoop only we deliver. And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button, give this video a like, and join the Wrestling News CC family, where the real stories of WWE come to life. See you in the next one.